for all you gamers out there, it's a little change of pace. I found a open source simple implementation of the old Tetris game online, and I thought it would be kind of cool to show everyone how this game can be tested using VectorCAST cover for system testing and using VectorCAST C++ for unit testing. So this particular example came with a solution file for Visual Studio 2008. If anybody wants to try this themselves, we'd be happy to send you the zip of the whole project, so just contact support if you'd like to try this. So all I need to do is build the solution. And then the executable is actually this stc++.exe. And you can see it's the normal Tetris game. You use the up arrow to rotate the piece, and then you can force it all the way down to the bottom. So that's what the game's about. And so now what we'll do is we'll just instrument these files in VectorCAST and see what kind of coverage we get as we play the game. So I'll use level A coverage in this case. So all I need to do is go back to the solution, clean it, and rebuild it. And so we can see we'll see the executable pop up here. And when the build finishes, I can go ahead and play. So the first thing I'll do is I'll quit really quickly out of the game and see what kind of coverage I got from that. So if I load up the coverage data and I look at quick quit, I can see that I got 100% coverage of my main CPP file. The game one will be a little more interesting. I have much lower coverage of this. I can see the cyan case and the green case got covered, most likely because it had already started creating the next piece to use, so I got two pieces covered. And so what I'll do now is I'll just play again, and I'll hope that I get another color. Oh, good. Here we get a red one. So I'll just quit. And we should see the red case covered now if I load up the results from this one. We'll just call this dataset red piece. If I click on it, I'll see that I have coverage of red, and if I hover over this line, it shows me red piece gave me coverage of this, and quick quit gave me coverage of this. So I could continue on like this and see how much coverage I get if I play for a little bit of time, but there will be, at some point, diminishing returns. I won't get complete coverage. There will be error cases like we can see down here, that on the initialization code, you know, the platform init might return an error. If it does, then we log that. So it might be really hard to stimulate these parts of the code. So that's the perfect application of unit testing. So now if I build a unit test environment for the game.cpp file by itself, well, I can start off with looking at the code coverage that I got during my system testing. You remember I had quick quit and red piece. So I'll import those. Now I can look at the code coverage that I had during my system testing as a starting point. And if I look at the tabular view of this, I can see that on filled rows, this method never got called at all. And of course, that's the case because I didn't play the game long enough. So maybe I don't want to play the game long enough to get coverage of this stuff. So what I'll do here is I'll go in and create a test case for on filled rows. And I'll just instantiate the class. And then I'll tell this method that row 3 is filled. I'll run a test case for that. And then if I look at the coverage that I got from that, I can see that I got now 6 of 19 statements covered from that. And if I scroll down here, then I can see I got coverage for case 3 because that was my stimulus value of this function. So I could continue on like this to increase my code coverage, hopefully at some point to 100%. Or I could go back and do some more system testing to get more coverage. So hopefully this was a quick, fun look at how VectorCAST can be used to do system and unit testing of a fun game like Tetris.